Hey, good morning. This is Isaiah here at OddsShopper, and today we're here to break down the slate for the Tennessee-Georgia game over at No House Advantage. If you've never played at No House Advantage before, I strongly recommend it. It's a great way to get in your player prop bets at a different site than the normal sports books, which is awesome if you're not in a betting legal state. So they do it two ways. The first way, you can do a prop market where you play against other players and you're building a DFS lineup by picking and prioritizing overs and unders. And the second way is you can just play against the house, make up to 5 player prop selections and win up to 21 times your money that way. Now, you don't have to play every single market they have on the board. You can limit yourself to just 2 for 2.5 times your money or 3 for 5 times your money. But the options are pretty endless over at No House Advantage. So if you haven't given it a shot yet and you're not in a betting legal state, I strongly recommend giving it a shot. So here are my picks for No House Advantage versus the house, the Tennessee-Georgia game. We're going to start with Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker. Not only is he now the favorite for the Heisman, he is also one of the best and most efficient passers in the FBS. He currently ranks second in pass efficiency. Now, while it's a tough matchup, Georgia's defense is electric. They have a fantastic line. They have a ton of first-round talent over the place. The same is true of Alabama, and that did not stop Hendon Hooker from having himself a day. He averaged 12.4 yards per attempt. So we're going to smash the over on his passing yards total against Georgia in a game that he'll have to keep throwing the ball to keep Tennessee close. They are 8-point underdogs depending on the book that you look at. So that's why you should back the Vols here, because they're going to have to pass a ton. Hooker's going to have to throw the ball often and frequently against Georgia's defensive front. Now we're going to pivot to running back on Tennessee, Jabari Small. Jabari Small is an incredibly successful rusher, but he hasn't been the most efficient against strong defensive fronts. He got only 53 yards against Alabama, and he only got 78 yards on 3.7 yards per carry against Kentucky, which is a good total, but Tennessee was leading the entire way. In a game that Tennessee projects to be trailing or playing from behind in, it makes a smart play to target the under for Small, especially against a top 5 rushing defense. This Georgia front is incredibly strong. They can stop the run at will. Tennessee's going to have to keep the ball in the air and out of the hands of Jabari Small. It's going to be incredibly hard for him to get 59 rushing yards, especially since if you look at his production from last season, when the Vols met the Bulldogs in Neyland, he only got 49 total yards and he did it on 12 carries. Obviously, last year's team was a lot different than this year's team, but it's still pretty easy to fade Jabari Small in this spot, especially if we're playing the hooker over because of inverse correlation. That's the key with these lineups. You always want to make sure that they make sense. You don't want to play the over on a quarterback and the under on his receiver because one could hit and then that could ruin the other. That brings us to our last pick for this lineup. We're going to go to Jalin Hyatt, the star receiver for the Volunteers. Because of correlation, we're going to be playing the over on Jalin Hyatt's receiving yards. It's a number set at 75.5, which he has beaten in each of his last 3 games by a pretty wide margin too. He racked up 207 yards against Alabama on just 6 catches. He then went on to get 174 against UT Martin and then 100 receptions against Kentucky. Now, the return of Cedric Tillman, another star receiver to this offense, to fit along with Hyatt and Brew McCoy does mean that there's a bit more competition for targets. However, it also means that defensive backs have to spread their attention all over the field, which can allow people like Hyatt to get open and, more importantly, to get yards after the catch. So that's why we're going to target Hyatt here. He's been going over consistently over the last couple of games. He destroyed an awesome defense in Alabama. Even if you think Georgia's defensive backs are a little tougher, this number still feels a little low to me, and we're getting it on a great correlation play with Hendon Hooker. To recap, we're going to be playing 3 props. We're going to be going over on Hendon Hooker. We're going to be going under on Jabari Small. And we're going to be going over on Jalin Hyatt. All right, those are my plays over at No House Advantage. I hope you give that site a try because it's well worth your money and time and investment. As always, you should head over to Stochastic. After watching this video, we have an awesome betting Discord where we post live plays, where you can talk to our analysts and get real-time advice. Awesome. We always have great communication going on over there. I'm Isaiah. It's been real. I hope you enjoyed this Georgia-Tennessee game today. I'll see you next time.